Good morning. I'm with Mary Michasiw. Thank you, Mary, for having us in your home today and for accepting to do this. Much appreciated.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, we're going to start about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mary.
I am a retired teacher. Spent 40 years in the classroom. Retired several times and kept going back, whenever they called for a long-term placement. I'm interested in so many things. I love traveling. I love spending time with my grandchildren, being involved in my community. Just a lot of things that I'm discovering about myself.
You've got a full life. I get that. Could we go back and speak a little bit to your time? 40 years is a long time in education. Could you speak a little bit to that? Was it maybe the areas of teaching, elementary, different levels, and also the path that led you to be a teacher?
I never saw myself as a teacher while going through high school, but choices were limited at the time when I was making decisions. I couldn't be a nurse because I couldn't handle anything, medical. I couldn't be a secretary because I did not have typing skills or anything like that. I had Latin. So there were very few options at that point. And so I decided that I was going to be a teacher. And I grew up in a family, I was the eldest of 6 children. So I did spend a lot of time with the kids and help with homework and things like that. So I went to Toronto Teachers College right after grade 13. We had the option at that time. Probably a really good thing because my parents really couldn't afford to send me to Teachers College or university and that kind of thing. So I did my degree afterwards. But my first teaching assignment I finished Teachers College in May, and I was in the classroom the following week. And
it was quick.
It was very quick.
Yes.
And it was in my own neighborhood where I grew up. I took the school bus to my school. And in the wintertime, I took the snow machine across Whitewater Lake,
So that was in Isilda.
That was in Isilda at St. Patrick's School. And, things have changed so much because I used to take the kids on snow machine rides during the lunch hour, and you couldn't do that at that time. So I spent probably the first 15 years with primary. So I got my primary specialist and my special education degree and that kind of thing. And I went to university and got my degree that way in the evenings. I had a family that did all the things that my friends were doing. All of a sudden, there was a great interest in French, immersion. Mm-hmm. And I had the opportunity to get involved. I went to a French school. I went to École Sainte-Marie in Isilda. And although I don't use the language a great deal, I thought it would be a great opportunity. So that's when I discovered grades 7 and 8. And I absolutely loved it. I loved that age group. It was, I don't know, maybe it was even just my own, your own desires and the excitement you felt when you were that age. And I could relate to the kids. I'd bring in my karaoke machine. And so we'd sing all during the lunch hour and we'd cook together, and it was just a great experience. So I taught in various communities. I taught out in Falconbridge. I taught in Larchwood, Chelmsford, and then I ended up at R.L. Beatty. And that's where I spent 20 years. You got to know the families. You got to know what their interests were, and you could kind of fit education in to their daily lives. Mm-hmm. One thing about when I taught, these children were my family. I spent a great deal of time with them. And I shared my interest. I shared the exciting things that happened. So they were very interested. After I retired, they kept calling me back. So it was really, again, I was there because I wanted to be. I remember when I first started, I asked for curriculum. What do I teach at grade 1 level? And they gave me this little wee gray book. And it had maybe 20 pages in it. Grade 1 was 1 page, grade 2 was the next page, and it outlined the entire curriculum.
Was that ever simple in that time?
It was simple.
That time?
And you built your own curriculum, and I could do all kinds of things because it was just open-ended.
Yes.
And I would take and I continued that throughout my career. After school, every Thursday we had a special event after school was over, and we'd go to the art gallery.
Yes.
We'd stay at the school and we'd cook.
Yeah.
We would. One time I was in touch with someone, and it just worked out that when the Royal Ballet came to do the Nutcracker just before Christmas, we got to sit in on their rehearsal.
Well,
just all kinds of wonderful things. One of the things that we did when I was doing a 6-month placement, it was the Olympics. So we had one of the flame carriers come to visit us. We followed the flame carriers right across the country. They learned the provinces, the capitals, little remote communities, everything. And we lined the halls with the names of places and, things that we knew about those things. And we had Doug Craig. He was a former counselor. And he came out and we had a competition of how well do you know your Canada? And we had teams and it was just wonderful. I like to think outside the box.
Yes.
And do things that are really different.
Yes.
And teach not just for curriculum, but teach life skills.
Life skills.
I want them to be involved in everything that's going on. And I taught a lot from the papers. From the newspapers, from the media. And I did a number of workshops for the board about how to use the paper. I could do our entire curriculum, meet all the expectations with a newspaper.
The newspaper. And you had the parents and the families involved as well. So
it was really interesting.
Really good. Yes.
It was wonderful because parents would come to me and say, boy, I got to keep up on with things because my kids are asking me questions. I don't have the answers. But has it ever generated a lot of conversation at the table?
I was so positive.
It was.
So if I was to ask you the rewards of doing this, you're already telling us quite a bit about it. And okay, so maybe keep on with the rewards, but I'd also like to hear some of the challenges, because we know that teaching is a profession that has its challenges. So Mary, could you speak a little bit to that? Not to stop the reward part, because you were on a roll there telling us all the fun stuff, and I feel your passion. But the struggles for folks listening to your interview.
The challenges are always there.
Yes.
But sometimes they turn out to be blessings too.
Yes, that's true.
Challenges are sometimes with parents and not students.
Yes.
Parents who aren't satisfied with the grades that their children received and wanted them to be changed, and sort of digging your heels in and saying, I'm being honest and I'm being fair and standing up for what you believe in. And using, the information that you've collected, not just the marks, but the, efforts kids have made in that to stand your ground. Challenges were 42 kids in a split grade 7 and 8 class.
Yes, that's true. The large classrooms.
Huge, and that was more the, when the first number of years that I taught, the classes were always large, even in grade 1, 30 kids. You have to teach them all how to read. And every child has different needs. Some learn visually, others learn differently. So you have to create programs or opportunities for them to create a program that meets their needs and
Yes.
helps them along. One of the things that I was most afraid of when I retired was that I would stop learning. And I found other ways to continue that process. But learning has always been so important to me. And my kids were challenging. They were asking questions. And I didn't hesitate to say, I don't know the answer to that. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Because I wanted them to understand that teachers don't know everything.
That's so true.
I wanted them to feel that eagerness to learn the answers
and to get them involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful.
But something interesting you just said is you kept on learning. You retired. You were thinking, well, I don't want to stop learning. But I hear that you're so involved in many things. Could you speak to that, Mary?
Well, the first time I retired in 2003, I was home for 6 months and caught up on everything, right? Because we have all these unfinished jobs that have to be done, right? And then I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? So a friend of mine called me and she says, well, there's a position on the board of Volunteer Sudbury. And I thought to myself, I've never been on a board before like that. Can I do this, And, she assured me, no problem. So I got involved there. And, it's like everything just snowballed. I became involved with that and predominantly looking for volunteer opportunities for seniors like me.
Yeah. Right.
Finding a place for them where they could do something after retirement. That was very interesting, and talking to different organizations and different clubs and that kind of thing to see if there's something that where they could fit. So I did that. Next thing you know, I'm working with the Seniors Advisory Panel. And Evelyn Dutrazak, a friend of mine, was on that panel. I got involved, and that panel changes every 4 years whenever there's a new council sworn in. I've been with that panel for over 20 years now. Wow. I think they must like me because they keep inviting me back. Today, I sit on the National Seniors Commission.
That's something.
It is.
Could you explain to us a little bit about it?
Well, the National Seniors Commission, they advocate for seniors at the federal level, and they talk to whoever is, whatever party is in power, and try to sort of encourage them to focus on seniors' issues. Like not last May, but the year before, in May, we met with delegates from the federal government, and we convinced them to select 3 priorities as their focus, and that is aging in place, affordability, and healthcare. So we have a voice at that level. And we just created a provincial seniors commission because there are a lot of issues with seniors presently. I was president of the Lockerbie Legion. I became a member in 2012. I became the president of the Ladies Auxiliary in 2013. And then midway through my term, they were going to shut down the Legion because of mismanagement. So they gave me the option, we'll shut the doors unless you take over. So I had to leave the presidency of the Ladies Auxiliary, become president of the Lockerbie Legion.
Could you give some advice to the younger generation that might be listening to your interview?
Well, I would say that there are 2 things, okay? Respect. Respect was always my rule in the classroom. I have to follow that rule. The kids have to follow that rule. Mm-hmm. Today's no different. Respect one another. Respect your the things around you. Respect nature. Respect the world in which we live. It's such a simple rule.
Yes, it is.
And there's even greater need today for to follow that rule
sure.
than ever.
For sure.
The way you talk to your parents, the way you talk to one another, with the technology, people are taking liberty to be disrespectful. But even when you're on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, just respect one another. Say what you have to say. And sometimes it's not a positive thing, but say it with respect.
Yes.
And so that would be one rule. But the other thing for me is live every day. Make the most of it. At the end of each day, reflect and ask yourself, how did I make the world a better place? The only thing I regret in my life is not taking more time, being in a hurry while I was raising my children, always accumulating, always, it was more important to have that new car and the swimming pool, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those things don't matter. Appreciate what you have, show respect, and just find those special moments,
You're an exciting, passionate, loving person, Mary. Thank you so much for meeting with us. Really appreciate. That's in my journal today. Appreciate the interview with Mary. Anything you'd like to add?
I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's part of reflection.
Yes, it is.
Looking back and thinking, okay, what do I value? What matters to me? And it's a confirmation again of who I am and what I care about.
Thank you. This was great.